In an old house where every corner held a memory, Mrs. Lourdes, 78 years old, began to notice strange things. A realtor taking photos in the corners, whispered phone conversations, and suitcases being packed in secret. She had always been suspicious of life, but now she felt the worst was coming. Her son wanted to sell her house and get rid of her once and for all. Little did she know that the truth behind those signs was an act of love that no one, not even her, expected. Mrs. Lourdes had lived for 40 years in that simple exposed brick house in the suburbs of Recife. The walls held children's laughter, scents of corn cake, and the echo of a husband who had passed away too soon. Widowed for 2 decades, she lived alone, with a routine of Sunday mass, evening soap operas, and coffee with neighbors on the sidewalk. But lately, something had changed in the air of that house. It all started on a stifling Thursday afternoon. She was in the kitchen, preparing the usual rice and beans, when she heard muffled voices in the living room. It was her son, James, 48 years old, and her daughter-in-law, Martha. Mrs. Lourdes stopped, spoon in hand, and listened to fragments of conversation that chilled her blood. James said, "We need to sell soon, so we can build what we want." Martha replied softly, "But what about her? What will happen?" Mrs. Lourdes felt her heart tighten. "Sell the house? Dump me in a nursing home to get rich?" she thought, while her hands trembled on the apron. That same week, she saw a man in an ill-fitting suit prowling the yard, cell phone in hand, taking photos of the facade, the low wall, and even the century-old mango tree that shaded the porch. "Realtor," she muttered to herself, hiding behind the voile curtain. She ran to the bedroom, opened the chest of drawers, and began hiding the documents. House deed, ID, voter card. She stuffed everything into an old envelope, hid it under the mattress, and swore, "No one takes me from here." The following days were Cold War. Mrs. Lourdes barely spoke to James during his visits, which came shorter and shorter. One night, during family dinner, one of those forced ones, with Martha fiddling on her phone, she exploded. "You think I'm stupid? I saw the realtor, heard the talks. You want to sell my house to throw me in an old folks' home, right? I raised you with the sweat of this land, and now this is the payback." James turned pale. Martha stopped eating. "Mom, it's not like that," James tried, but his voice came out weak. Mrs. Lourdes got up from the table, eyes teary. "Don't give me nonsense. I know what I saw." She left, slamming the bedroom door, locking it behind her. Suspicion turned to paranoia. Mrs. Lourdes stopped on the street to ask neighbors, "Did you see that man in the suit here? My son is trying to pull one over on me." Mrs. Rose, from the house next door, shook her head. "Be careful, Lourdes. Nowadays, a son who takes care of an old mother is rare. Maybe he needs the money for his own life." Mrs. Lourdes nodded, fear growing like weeds. At night, lying on the hard bed, she imagined the scenes. Trucks taking her furniture, her with a suitcase entering a crowded nursing home, James counting bills at the bank. "Ungrateful," she whispered to the cracked ceiling. James and Martha tried to talk, but she clammed up like an oyster. "Mom, listen to me. We're doing this for you," he pleaded on the phone. "For me? Selling the roof over my head? Get out!" she snapped back, hanging up. Visits stopped. The house's silence grew heavier than ever. Mrs. Lourdes spent days watching the street from the window, waiting for the worst. She began losing sleep, appetite. The beans hardened on the plate. The soap opera became background noise. One rainy morning, weeks later, the worst seemed to arrive. James showed up unannounced, with Martha and a stack of papers in hand. "Mom, sit down. We need to show you something." Mrs. Lourdes crossed her arms, the document envelope still under the mattress like an invisible shield. "I came to get my things before you kick me out," she said dryly. James sighed, unrolled a blueprint on the kitchen table, architectural plans, engineer scribbles. "Look at this, Mom. It's not selling the house. It's construction." Mrs. Lourdes frowned, approaching slowly. The plans showed her house intact, but with a new annex in the back. Large bedroom with adapted bathroom, support bars on walls, Wide ramp in the yard, kitchenette linked to hers. We sold our house, Mom. The two-story one that was cramped for us. With the money, we hired this engineer to do all this for you. Ramps for your bad leg, bars to hold on to, space for physical therapy at home. We're going to live in the annex, close by, to take care of you without smothering you. It wasn't to abandon you. It was to embrace you for real. Mrs. Lourd's world stopped. The realtor photos? Measurements for the annex. The whispered talks? Planning the surprise. The suitcases? Their move. Tears ran down her wrinkled face, mixed with awkward laughter. I thought you, she stammered. James hugged her tight. Sorry, Mom. We should have told you from the start. But we wanted to see your face. Martha smiled. You're stubborn. But we love you more than anything. That day, the house didn't change owners. Changed meaning. Mrs. Lourd learned that fear is sometimes just a foggy lens over the love that never stopped being there. Weeks later, with the annex rising, she sat on the porch with James, laughing at her own suspicions. Good thing I hid the papers, she joked, and the century-old mango tree seemed to applaud, swaying in the wind.